Good morning and welcome to the video for Thursday, January the 7th. This is going to be a video for 6th grade from our daily math book. Again, we are going to be working with a lot of different things. I'm going to try to give you some suggestions, but I'm mostly just going to leave you to work on these. If you have any questions, you can, of course, play back the explanation of what to do for each problem, or you can send me a question in Google Classroom, have a parent email me, or send me a message, and any of those will be fine. Number one, we are going to be doing multiplication. Again, we should probably rewrite this vertically to make sure that we get everything correct as we go through each step. And again, the top row is going to be the answer to 21 times 1. The second row after we put our placeholder 0 is going to be the answer to 70 times 29. And then we add those together to get our final answer. We're going to do something similar for number 2. Keep in mind that we are going to move our decimal place after we are done with the multiplication part. So this one we would move our decimal point twice. It looks like the one on the right, we're going to move it twice for each, which is going to be 4 times. Number 3, I dislike some of these. I'm going to give you a little bit of help again. The outside, so like this part here, the long part is going to be 2 centimeters. This one would be 2. The sides are going to be worth 1.5. So let's say this one is worth, sorry, not 1.5, but 1/2. Let's zoom in a little bit more. When we are going here, it looks like that's going to cut that shape in half. So this part here would be worth 1, and this part here would be worth 1. So that gives you a starting point for what some of them should be. You should be able to figure out all the rest of them using what I gave you to start with. Number 4 is going to be an expression that uses multiplication. So that is the hint. If you look at these numbers and see what we're counting by, that can be the number that we're multiplying by. But we're also going to have another part to that expression. So keep that in mind. Think about how these numbers relate to each other more so than just this side going up by 3. And that should help you figure out what to do. Number 5, if you remember, there are 180 degrees inside a triangle, so that should give you a good hint on what to do for that one. At the bottom, number 1, we need to go ahead and rewrite the problem to make sure that it looks like this. And our first digit, we are going to see how many times 89 goes into 6. That's probably not going to work. So then we would go the next digit over. How many times does 88 go into 66? Third time would be how many times does 89 go into 661? We're going to be working with large numbers here. So just keep in mind the process stays the same. We need to figure out for our first digit how many times 89 goes into 661. Write that number up here and then multiply by 89 to figure out what, if anything, gets carried over into the next step of our problem before we bring down our next digit. Similar thing for number 2. I went ahead and wrote the decimal points in to make sure that you guys understand. We are going to have similar digits, but the values of those are going to be different. So we're going to start with how many times does 8 go into 1, then 8 into 10. But in this case, the decimal point's going to be in between the tens place and the ones place, whereas it comes after the ones place in this one. For as it relates to the number that we would write up here. So we could do 8 directly into 10 to start with here. And the number is going to go in the ones place here, whereas it's going to go in the, tenths place for this one. Number 3, find the value of z that makes the equation true. We've been doing these for a long time, so hopefully you know the steps to go ahead and work your way backward to find what that number should be. Or you could just figure out how many times you can count by 5 and then add 3 to the end of that to get your answer. Number 4, draw a picture to show what 5/4 means. So way back in 3rd grade, we worked with different pictures. And so anytime we were working with something that was larger than a whole, we would have more than one shape. One would be filled in completely. One would be completely filled in, not incompletely. Um, and then the other shape would only be partially filled in. So that could give you an idea of what to do. You can probably make a circle, you can make a square for your base shape, and then work with that. Number 5, we need to figure out what our common multiples are. And so we need to figure out common multiples for 3 and 7 to find the answer to that. So if you make a list of your multiples of 3, make a list of your multiples of 7, see which ones of those numbers overlap, and that will help you figure out the answer to number 5. So if you have any questions, again, please feel free to ask in Google Classroom or have a parent send me an email or message, and I will be able to help you as we go throughout the day. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.